Here we go, people. Okay, so this one I think is going to be a really important one for a lot of you people that are in any kind of production atmosphere for sure. And this is, I think, spreading across many sectors of industries now. It's not just I don't just see it now in film and game, and obviously now with all the photogrammetry. This is actually a piece courtesy of 3dscanstore.com. So this is a photogrammetry piece, and we know many of you are using these pieces and doing stuff this way, where you need, especially for those that are, especially in a film or game where you're dealing with an actor that's a real actor, and you're dealing with all those scans and everything else like this. So what we've done, we've added a little bit something to ZBrush here to try and make your job a little bit more faster for you, especially when you're going from, say, another application, let's say something like Maya, and then you're coming into ZBrush, and you want to have the ability to start lining some things up. So what we've done is we've added some stuff here to our FBX. Okay, so I'm just going to import an FBX real quick here, right? So I'm just going to click on that and open that up and let ZBrush come in. And I'm going to tell it to import my cameras. Okay, so you can see it's reading the data, right? And letting that come through. And as we go through this, it's going to come all in. And you can see it imported 7 cameras. You guys are used to this. But now what it's also going to do is import the actual photos from your photogrammetry. So for our IE, if you were in a program that has an image plane that the FBXs can support that, this is in essence what we've done here. We've got images that were in another program on an image plane, and then the models. So we've got everything stored in here. So if I open up now, I'm gonna, we'll remove this for now. And I open up the draw palette. We've added another little menu down here at the bottom with the stored cameras. So not only do you have the stored camera ability, but you have the ability to look through the model. You got opacity control here now. So as an example, if I put this model back, if I move it, you can see there's an image and it's lining up, right, with that, because that's how it would have been done when you did the photogrammetry, right? And you can cycle through and all those images are going to line up no matter what you're doing. And then you have all your opacity controls here. So this is actually not paint right now in the model. This is the image that's being lined up, right? Because when you're in a production, you're going to come in here and you're going to maybe start lining things up, right? So if I mess this ear up, you're going to see now, you can see the ear is no longer lining up with the image because I moved it too far. So this is something that we've added. This has been a request by a couple of people we've spoke to in the studios as well. And I know there are a lot of photogrammetry people also in here, a lot of people doing things like this. So it's just another way for you guys to line up your images and your photos. So the FBX, again, this is through FBX, will support this now lower section in here for you. So really handy, good thing for you guys to have, right? So there you go. I'm going to undock that, put my brush palette back, and then put it back in there. But I'm going to also get myself my notes here. I actually didn't launch. I'm so excited about all this stuff. I forgot to launch my notes. There we go. Okay. All right. So I'm going to move on to some other things. That's pretty relatively straightforward for you guys, right? And all. So I'm just going to grab a plane. Okay. And let's grab that plane in here. And then I'll make that a poly mesh. And we're going to divide that up. Okay. And I'm going to open this now because I'm going to want to use this. And I'm going to load a couple brushes here to show you guys some stuff, some things that we have added to the brush system as well. So let's go ahead and load a brush. Let's go to brushes. I'm going to load, let me know which one I want to start with. I'm going to start with this one right here. Okay. So now I've got a brush, okay, that you guys have probably been used to doing stuff like this, right? It's just grabbing the alpha. Okay. If I want to now also do some other things with this, just besides something like that, right, and change my brush size, we got this. But if you notice something else happening, right, you notice that there's a completely different result happening through here, right? So here, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this very like true. So you got this, right? And then you got this, okay? So there's something going on here. In fact, here, I'm also going to throw a little something in this. Let's put some paint on this. Let's fill this and let's put that texture back in, right? So not only that, I'm painting with that, right? And then look, what? Right? So hold on, I got to see what the chat's. You got to keep this up for me, Michael. You got to let me know if they're feeling this or not. Okay. So what I'm actually doing here now, and what we've done is forget about just doing this. Okay. If you guys come into the brush palette now and you up alpha textures, you can now actually have 2 alphas and 2 different textures on your brush. And I'm actually controlling these with pressure sensitivity. Okay. So I'm saying to ZBrush, when do I want this green texture, which is just the grass texture in ZBrush, right? And then this alpha. And then I'm using different pressure to control when do I want this with this texture, right? So I'm doing 4 things really at once. I'm swapping through this at once, right? I'm doing, this is a light, just a nice light stroke. And then if I go harsh, I got this, then back to a light. So you can see this can really start to be like a quick way to make some environment. And I know you guys all have some crazy awesome alphas that you're going to have just a blast with this and some coloring in here, right? Just like that. I can just quickly switch between things and there. I am art. There. I'm doing it. I'm doing it, people. I'm doing it live in ZBrush. I love it so much. Right. But it's a lot of fun to be able to mess with this. I'm going to undo this. Okay. And I'm going to grab another brush that I actually enjoy doing too. That's going to show you guys something else besides just having this ability. Okay. So I'm going to grab her. Okay. And I'm going to load a different brush. Let me load another brush. Okay. So we've got the combinations now of these alphas and these textures, right? So I'm going to now grab a brush like this, right? So this is actually a combination. I really enjoy. This is like kind of doing a different rake brush. Okay. So I'm just going to go up in resolution a little bit here. So let's see where I'm sitting at. Yeah, we're sitting out good there. And then you can see I've got 2 different alphas in here, right? So sculpturally, right, I got a rake, but if I push harder, it's like a combination of things, right, that are coming through here. So now what you also can do, let's throw some color on this. So I'm going to color fill this object. Okay. And then now what you can also do, besides using a texture, you can actually just use your colors here too. So I can let's grab something kind of bold, more blue, and let's go the end of the spectrum, right? And you can see I can have them blue, but what I can also do is with the gradients, I can mix a little bit of color. And now what I can do with this is start using gradient or not using a gradient, right? So when I go a little bit lighter, right, I can have a little bit of this, but you also have transitional ability here. Okay. So you're going to have between these, you're going to have graphs here. And this is going to help you guys kind of control, in essence, your pressure sensitivity through here. And let's not forget when you're dealing with color, all right, and you're dealing with pressure sensitivity, let's not forget there's tablet pressure stuff in here, right? So you got RGB in here as well, right? So you got also this curve controlling ours. So see now more of the yellows kind of coming through, right? Because now I'm adjusting the curve about this and see now it's all blue. I'm a little bit light. It's a gradient now between the blue, right? And this color. We'll go a little bit more bold with this color. There you go. See? Right? So I can control this, what's happening here, not just with textures, but also with just using the 2 colors that ship with ZBrush as well, that you can just pick any color you want. And in this case, I'm just turning on the gradient and going at that with the gradient. Now, something else that I had some fun with these brushes. I'm going to load another brush that I had some fun with in this. Okay. We're going to go back to having just, let's go to a nice white color in there. We'll go backwards on here, right? So I'm going to load another brush that I made here that I started having some fun with. Let me see, where are you at? Clay ring, there you go. Open that up. Okay, so here's another one that I made. It's kind of just another rake, but then also with a flattening, right? So this is what I'm saying. Like, it's also just not about painting too with this. It's also about coming up with some brushes. And now, don't forget, you can do Z-add and then start flattening that, then add it in a rake wise. And again, I'm changing pressure sensitivity to go through this, right? That's all I'm doing, right? And then this particular one has these 2 alphas. And now what's really cool about this, and the things that you guys want to think about, you guys are seeing a theme in the summit, right? How all these artists are also using multiple features together, right? And when we start developing things like this, my mind actually starts going that way. So I'm just going to go back, right? And my mind immediately goes, what about thick skin? Right? Throwing a little thick skin on this. Now throwing some thick skin on with this brush just starts creating. See, I'll reach a plateau, right? And then now I can build and then push harder and get right into that plateau and then push a little bit softer and start knocking out. Think about this, like some of the stuff that even Id was showing, right? Some people were asking how to transition from hard surface to organic. This is brush is kind of even giving me some of that feeling where I can go straight now, get rid of a lot of it more, start chiseling into the surface more like a chisel, like a hammer, and then switching immediately to a rake, right? So for those that have done clay sculpting, that's kind of what I was going for with this brush. I was trying to combine elements of, I've got like a little flat piece of mantle, or some people use like a piece of wood, bam, knock on that clay, right? And throw it with some rake, right? And now I'm just throwing in the mix here, I'm throwing in some thick skin here, right? So I know a lot of you are going to be having some fun with this. Some of you I know are Ashley. I'm looking at you right now, Ashley. I know you're going to be having some. Michael, I know your gears are going right now, Mike. Right? I know they're
got my notes
right
out
now. I know there's many of you. I know I saw some Shane. I saw Rodolfo, a bunch of you in there. Okay, so you guys are now going to have this ability to have 2 alphas per brush, 2 textures to a brush, or you can even just use coloring with some gradient to a brush, and you can have a lot of fun. I've made some brushes that even look like oil painting a little bit, right? Which is like a building up on the surface. Let's see if I think I can load. Here we go. This is, I think I called this one like an oil paint brush, right? So I've actually got colors in here, right? And then you see it kind of looks like paint strokes a little bit. I really had some fun with this. So let me just quickly turn this off and we'll fill this with some color so it's white, and then start building up and start building up with this. And I'm getting a mixture of the 2 textures, right? So I got these 2 textures. And again, the lighter I go, see, it's the lighter blue, right? See that? And then it's more of like I'm using different elements. And then the stronger I go, I'm doing this. And I'm using actually a circular alpha. And by the way, I'm adding another, again, it's like a cake, people. Num, 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 num. Okay. You're adding things. Now you're awake. Now you're awake. Okay. So I went in here and started using this streaks length to actually make this alpha look like kind of like a bristle strokes. That's what I took advantage of this feature, right? See, if I turn it off, this is all it is. But then I went into this and trying to make it look like actual nice brush strokes, but maybe a thicker brush, right? And then this is my a lighter brush, right? That has a wider bristles, or maybe this bristles have been used a lot. You know, I've been hanging out with Bob Ross's son, maybe even. Okay, there you go, right? So I called this one oil paint because I really felt like that's what it was doing for me. It looked like painting some oil for those that have been painters in a past life or in a current life right now, right? The ZBrush is also a painting application at the same time, okay? So there you go. There is something else now that you guys are going to be able to do with your brush system, which is pretty cool for what you guys are going to be able to do, okay? Cool? A lot of fun. I'm not done. I am not done. Okay, so we don't need this anymore. Let's close this, and I'm going to just go back to a basic brush. Let's grab, oh yes, let's grab these cubes. Beautiful, just gorgeous. Love them. Yeah, they're nothing, but I'm going to do this because it's going to be a visual cue for you guys. It's all going to make this really easy. I know this is the most difficult sculpt I've shown you guys yet. I understand. I'm with you right now. Okay, what we've done now is in Subtools, we've actually added an alignment. Like this has been a big one for me. You guys are now going to have the ability to align your subtools. And not only that, this is a single subtool, okay? So I'm going to be able to come in here and say, this is just like what you guys are used to. If I want to align it, boom, they're aligned along the top, right? And it's that simple. You just click on your alignment. You guys are probably used to this, aligning them all in the center right there. Now you're awake. The claps are happening, right? So you can align these however you want. Now, what's great about this and what's very interesting about this, because we're in the world of 3D, so we also want to take advantage of that. We're just not in the world of 2D here, okay? We're in this 3D world. So you guys, this is also this is camera dependent, okay? So not only the mesh is looking at the vertex points, but it's also looking at this, right? So if I did something like this, and let's do a line along the top, you see they all aligned this way, right? Because what they're doing is they're looking for that commonality point in here, right? And then when it's aligning, see, it's following that one right there. It's finding that's the bigger piece here. So then that's the one it's going to be using there. for that alignment in there, right? And then boom, you have that ability. Okay, so it's not just about looking at and just saying align the meshes themselves, right? We're going to also be able to take advantage of having different camera positioning and then aligning those right along that way. Okay, I know you're going to find many ways to use this, but it doesn't end there, right? This is just using a single mesh. Okay, I could even come to say something like, let's switch to this guy, my samurai guy that I was working on for this. And let's go to an insert mesh brush. Let's grab, where is he? My model kit. I love me some model kit. I'm a big fan of this brush. I'm going to turn off my symmetry. And let's say we're going to use this, right? So now you guys, with this ability, okay, and this is something maybe where I've always wanted to do this. So I want to place certain things in a certain area, right? So I want, and well, we'll throw on symmetry actually, and I want to place one there, and then I want to place one there, and then maybe I want another one there, right? So now they're different sizes, okay? So I want to overcome that. This is not new, but this is something that you guys should all know. My draw size is controlling this, right? So if I go with, let's go with the size of 6, okay? So when I draw it out, I can hold the control key, right? And then I can draw it out, hold the control key, and I can draw it out and hold the control key, right? This is great. So there's been times where I'm like doing something, I want this actually up here, and then I want another one there, and then I want another one there, right? And then this is on one subtool. So what I'm going to do is actually solo this out, okay? And then I'm only going to look at these, right? And then now you can also even align these. So I close my subtool palette and I can say align those and see now they're aligned, right? Because this is not something a curve's going to be able to do because these are all sitting in different spots along here. I chose this as the artist, but there's no way I was going to be able to sit there and get them exactly in the same location with an insert mesh brush. Obviously, I know where everyone's mind's going. Some of you, I'm looking, Michael, I know where your mind's going. NanoMesh would work for something like this, but it wouldn't because my geometry is also doing this, right? Because it's following the curvature. So it wouldn't work. This is just a prime example of now I can take advantage, draw something out, then show the whole model again, and then there you go. They're across the chest because that's where I want them. I want to cross the chest on this guy, and then that's what I'm looking for, right? And again, this is just using it by using one mesh at a time. Now, there's a reason why I soloed this out because now I'm going to go to something else. Let's switch to this. Drust, if you're watching, probably not. We're going to do the old Drust toys that he made, making for his daughter. So here's a prime example. This is multiple subtools now. Okay. So I've got multiple subtools and you can see the stuff is not aligned, right? It's not working right. It's not for me, right? And if we even turn on our floor, you can see the things aren't aligned, right? And in fact, the original one of this had some alignment off. So you guys are going to be able to align by subtools, okay? And this is going to be beneficial. And this will work for you really well. So what you're going to do now is select a subtool that in essence that you want to make the bounding box subtool to be looked at, right? And so in this case, I'm using these blocks. Dress made these when there was 4R8, which was forever ago now, it seems. I don't even know what year that came out anymore. I think 2016, maybe I want to say 2016 that came out. I'm throwing it out there. Go ahead. Someone go find that. Someone in my chat room, see if I'm right on that year. Just throw it out there, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to align all the other subtools to fit to the bottom of these cubes. So here, I'm going to zoom in closer to just this area so you guys can visually make sure you really are seeing what's happening here. This is something that I've always wanted here, some nice alignment happening, okay, in here. So now that's my selected subtool. Scroll down and say I want to align to the floor, in essence, to the bottom. Let it go through the motion. Boom, done. Right? So now all my subtools, and in this case, for this example, that's exactly what I would want, right? Especially if you're going to start setting up a scene like this, and then you want to go render. When you go render, you don't want to have like floating trucks and cubes and Legos here, right? So that's really important. Or for that matter, you're going to send this out to any other application that you want to send it out to. You know, those are all aligned along the bottom for you, right? So it comes in really handy for you guys to be able to do things like this, okay? So you can use this alignment based upon subtools or based upon an individual mesh, Okay, so if you guys are going to want to use this with an individual mesh and you have multiple subtools, just make sure you either switch to solo mode or you turn off all your subtools and just look at that one, because this is going to look at all the subtools. Okay, and then of course I just gave you an advantage of using it this way. Okay, so there you go. That's a nice thing that's been added to it. Now, besides that, okay, we also have something else here. I'm going to duplicate this. Okay, I'm just going to duplicate this. And for this one, let's just look at just that one. And I'm going to delete this now. Okay, boom, delete hidden. Okay, and then now let's say you've done something where you've done something like this. Okay, I like that one. And then you've done this. Then you've done something like this, right? And then you've done something like this, let's just say. Okay. Now you guys are also going to have the ability, besides alignments, okay, you also have redistribute. Okay, so some of you are probably used to this as well in other applications, and maybe especially like obviously this is in Photoshop as well. The alignments are in Photoshop, but we're dealing with 3D, so you guys can click on any of your redistributes, and now it's redistributing and giving you the exact same distance between each one. And I know you guys have all done this at some point. You've done something out, you've drawn out multiple meshes, and you realize, oh man, I want those to be redistributed, and make sure the gap's the same, right? So there you go. You're going to have this like alignment. You can redistribute across all the avenues again as well. Have all 6 options for your redistributing. I think that probably sums it up, right? You guys get it. It's just rearranging these meshes, right? So, and if the meshes are bigger, what ZBrush is going to do, it's looking at the center of the mesh, right? So some of these are bigger. It's still going to look at that center of that mesh. So if I make here, let's redo some of these. And I'll make this one maybe taller and a little bit wider. And then let's take this one and make this one maybe a little bit skinnier. We'll move it here, right? Okay, so when I redistribute it, they are redistributing, right? Okay, but it's looking at the center of this, the center of this, the center of this, the center of this, and center of this. And that's where it's trying to figure out and redistribute for you too. Okay, so they can have different size. That's totally fine to be able to do something like this. Okay, so for me, these are one of my little, like these are little things that are going to go a long way. And I'm sure some of you might be like, I don't know when I'm going to use this. I guarantee you're going to find ways to use this for sure. Mike's grinning. You got something already you're thinking of?
There's I don't think it's going to be a few people that'll have find a use for this according to the chat. I think they're all
good.
in.
Good. Good. I like it. All right. So now you guys have those. So now look, think about what we've done. We've got FBX additionals now. We're bringing in your images now, lining up your cameras as well. You've got brush system that's just expanding even more to multiple alpha, multiple textures. Now I'm showing you guys the alignment and redistributing as well. Okay. And so this is really a lot of fun to be able to do this. Okay. But we've also kept going. We've done some other items. So I'm going to grab this guy. I'm going to bring him in. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and turn on the Gizmo. Right. And I'm going to just center this. It doesn't really matter where this is living right now. Okay. I'm going to turn on our what we call our subtool. This is multi subtool selection. That's actually what this icon is. It's multiple subtools. Okay. I know you guys have got it all grained in your head now, pizza boxes, which is totally fine. Real, I'm bringing multiple subtools to the party, man. I got to have multiple pizza boxes. You're all invited. You're all here watching me. So you're all coming, right? So what we've done is something that is, listen, I use what I'm about to show you actually quite a bit, more than you probably would think of. But in deformation, I use these a lot. There's a lot of ways that I use this, okay? So especially for say something, hey, I want to inflate this one subtool, right? The demo soldier. I can say now just repeat to all other subtools, right? And then boom, all other subtools make that happen to us. Now, what we've now added is you can actually use the Gizmo selection ability. Okay. So what I can do now, same thing. I can sit here and inflate this, okay, and repeat the other. And now only the subtools that are visible in the Gizmo selection are the ones that are actually going to have anything happen to it. Okay. Again, this is something that might be small to some of you, but I'm telling you, I use these things more than you, I swear, more than you probably can think of, right? I'm using them all the time. Look, I just did offsets, right? So I can keep doing offsets and see it keeps moving over and see the rest of it is not moving as well. So, but there are other things within these deformations that are going to be beneficial for you guys. And then you want to select out the subtools without going to have to turn off your sub, because some of us have, hundreds of subtools, right? And you want quicker ways to be able to select things. And this is a quick way to do it. It is. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. Okay. So now you guys are going to have the ability to do this for you. Okay. You're going to have a lot of fun with that. And with that said, we might as well bring this back. Let's split this also to parts. There we go. Okay. And let's do this. Let's turn this off. Okay. And I want to move this one. Let's move this one. Let's move this one. Right. And I can do this. Right. So remember, you can do stuff like this. Right. So this is important for us, and it's going to become a key point for us because look, even the alignments, win, chicken, win, right? These are even appreciating your Gizmo multi-selections. So you can even just select out subtools that you don't want the alignment, right, to be affected, and you can go this route, right? You like that segue, people? You like that? Okay, brought it right back to alignment, brought it right back. Okay, so you're going to have this. So you guys see, we keep adding things here, and it's about trying to think maybe ways that we can work faster as artists and still stay in that creative mindset as much as we can. That's one of our goals here. That's what we're developing ZBrush for. It's an artistic tool that we're trying to just keep pushing you guys in that art world. Okay, so moving along now, let me double check my notes, make sure I'm not okay. We're good. All right, making sure. Let's move on to here. Let's grab this one. All right. Beautiful, just gorgeous. Another one of those trucks, right? That Joseph made. Pretty cool piece. Again, all in ZBrush, right? So I'm going to highlight these tires, all right? So this is one of the ones that I said something unique. I'm going to show you guys something new with DynaMesh. This is a big one, okay? So for those of you DynaMesh users, this is Elisa Needs Braces. Don't make me do it. Look up here, okay? Now you're paying attention, okay? We are now going to have the ability, okay, in DynaMesh. All right. I know you guys run into this. You guys, instead of having to guess your resolutions, you can now just literally click on the slider and look. If that's the resolution you want, the slider automatically goes to. If I want a little bit more resolution, I can just see as I move it around, it's finding the resolution for me, right? Because if this density is working for me on these wheels, then that's the resolution I want to use for DynaMesh, right? And then that's all I got to do. They're DynaMesh. And you can see that's not the resolution, right? Because obviously this resolution I just highlighted is not dense enough to really hold the tires. So now I want to come in here and maybe grab a little bit different resolution, or I want to come in here and grab this. So that's what the picker does too. It's the same thing. We just put it so you guys can also rip out that button if you wanted to. So it does the same thing. So if I was to say grab this one instead, right? See, there's some different resolutions in here, even with the Sculptures Pro stuff, right? I can come in here and see, look, I can get different resolutions now just by click and dragging. This is just something simple and easy, but it's a big one, right? I know you DynaMesh people got grinning right now. There's some big grinning going on right now, I'm sure, right? Shane Olson, I know you're in here. I know you're in here. You were in here. Okay, there you go. I just did a DynaMesh base resolution based on the resolution I wanted to grab from this truck. Okay, so it's just another thing. Don't have to guess now. Especially think about it when you're doing characters with hands or fingers. This could be another thing. You get more density right in the fingers, and then in the areas of maybe that you're working on, or if you're using Sculptures Pro and right, you've made some real big density in the face. And you want to keep that density, and now you want to turn it into a DynaMesh. There you go. We're just giving you a workflow for that, right? Super, super handy, right? I can't get any easier. It's a simple thing to do now for you all, right? So there you go. There was the addition to DynaMesh that I was hinting at when we were talking about DynaMesh today. Okay, so really, really simple thing to do. Just click and drag over, get the resolution that you want, right? Okay, so moving along. Okay, let's grab this cube. All right, and let's start going. All right, let's go ahead and again let's pull this up, and I'm going to close these. just so we have this, okay? And I'm gonna go ahead, I'll just switch brushes, I guess. I'll go to a standard brush, all right? And what I wanna do now is, this is also very handy, and I think there's been some stuff today and yesterday, people using things. Again, and we're gonna give you another additional enhancement to the brush system here, okay? This has been here, but I don't think people have really taken full advantage of it, and that's having surface, okay? So you guys can actually, instead of applying, so you know what Marcin was doing today, right? He was making surface and throwing in surface noise. You guys have always been able to apply that actually to a brush, okay? So for, as an example, if I grab this, all right, and I'm even going to throw in an alpha on this, okay? So let me go, what's today? Monday, all right? And we're going to do an alpha like this, okay? And I'll do something like this, okay? And right now, this is mixing, okay, with this, right? I got a mixture, and I can even control that mixture where it's to go, right? So you can see this is controlling one part of the noise, which is the graph and this scale, okay? And then this alpha is being controlled by this scale, okay? So when we're doing this, this is great. I have now the ability, okay, to come in here and I can start sculpting, right? And look what starts happening, right? Anywhere where I put this cube, I'm not going to get the result that I want, number one. Okay. So you can notice, and I come in here, because I'm using this alpha, right? This alpha is only a 2D, in essence, projection happening. Okay. So it's only going one direction. Where the other noise that I'm using is a 3D noise. So it's seeing the whole cubic surface, right? So the thing we wanted to do is enhance this, right? And I think maybe this is why some of you might not be using this as much as I had hoped when we came out with this. How long ago? I don't know, 9 years ago, 10 years ago. This has been here for a long time. Now you guys have, and maybe now you're all going to use it more. Here we go, even more than I've seen, local projection mode. Okay. So now you guys can do this, right? And then I can actually now turn and get the exact same noise, turn, and I can go now anywhere on this cube and get that noise to be wherever you want, right? And then now it's repositioning that noise for us, right? So it'll start working together for me. And not only that, what I really like about this as well is this, because now this is locally on, we've got a dynamic scale and we've got a slider here. So this is also going to work with brush size. So now, right, I don't have to go in here and edit in here. I'm sure you guys have all used this where you're going and edit these scales. Like you want to go smaller or bigger, right? This kind of a thing. You guys, with this now, you don't even have to do that. If you go with a smaller brush size, the noise gets smaller. If you go with a bigger brush size, the noise gets bigger, right? So you don't actually even have to go adjust the noise anymore. Your brush size now can control how small you want that noise to be, right? So I can come anywhere and get that same noise. And then this is very different, okay, than just applying an alpha to the brush and turning on roll. Because you can see I can go anywhere and it's just seeing the whole noise as a unit that's infinitely going, and I can keep sculpting through on this, right? And if I want that noise to be a little bit bigger, then I can go with the bigger brush size, and now I'll get a bigger noise, right? So, and then I can do a combination of this now, right? I can do one noise, one size here, and then go smaller and maybe get a little bit smaller version of that noise creeping into here. Think about what Marcin just showed us today, right? How you can really start to play with this and get some transitional different things in here. And then we have a multiplier. That's what this slider is, okay? It's multiplying this noise size on this brush, right? So it's 5 times. So if I drop this down to 2, okay, and you see now it's not multiplying as much, right? So that's what this is. This is saying whatever the scale is that I've set in here, okay, go 5 times bigger based upon, and then your brush size, okay? So you either you have all the options here. You can make a smaller brush size and get something that small, or you can say a large brush size and then just say, I want to go a little bit smaller, and then see I can go a little bit smaller, right? So this is just another enhancement for you all to start pushing your brushes and going a different way, right? So you got to think about, let's recap again what we've got here that I've already shown right here today, not even counting last night's presentation of what's new in ZBrush is you guys got now FBX improvements, importing, having images alignment. You have the ability of this surface noise now, and locally you now have multiple alphas, multiple textures you can apply. You've got in the subtool pouch, you've got alignment now. You got a distribute, right? You've got the ability to align subtools, a single mesh. You got the DynaMesh resolution picker now, right? Especially when you look at, say, something even like this part of the truck, right? You can see how different it is, right? The windows compare to the rest of the truck. That's an important element to be able to come in here. If I did want to DynaMesh this, right? I clearly don't want to use the window. I'd rather use this, right? Or maybe use this and get more density, right? Coming through there, okay? So this has been really a bunch of additions to try and push further along in the sculpting phase for us all. And then we've added more things to our Gizmo. All right. So that's it for tonight. Those are all the new additions for tonight, but there's tomorrow night too, right? Let's not forget that. But before we do giveaways, I do want to also, everyone, let's do it. Michael, thanks for joining us and being a part of today.
Oh, of course, man. Thanks for having me. It's always a blast. And I love seeing the new stuff, but now I'm like, God, I wish I could have used it on this project. I just had a Ninja Turtle I made that would have been perfect. But
oh, yes. I saw you
next
doing
Ninja
the
Turtle.
rendering and the painting and all that for that. Yes. I saw it. Yeah, that looked sweet. Right. That was part of one of your sculpts that you do with like Mike Thompson and Danny Williams.
Yeah.
Right? Who's the fourth person?
It was the Stylus League guys.
Yeah, the Stylist League guys. Yes. Right. You made that during that stream, right?
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us, man, today and taking the Monday out of your day to join us.
Now, this is a way better Monday to start out with than my usual Mondays. So thanks for having me. I like this Monday.
Good. Hopefully everybody's enjoying seeing the new stuff too. And you guys, your minds are starting to roll with ideas of what you're going to be able to do, right? And don't forget, there's still tomorrow. Okay. So we still have tomorrow to go through some things in here, right? And not just that, but we've got more presentations tomorrow, right? We got more giveaways, and I got to finish off the giveaways tonight as well before we call it an evening. So let's not forget about that.